October 6th through the 12th is National Physician Associate Week, and according to the American Academy of Physician Associates, a time to celebrate all that the physician associates have accomplished, highlight the care they provide, and elevate the profession. I'm going to provide a link to the AAPA website in case you want to read more about what they have to say. But I thought I'd take a couple minutes to just talk about the profession and kind of bring you up to date to where it stands today. The PA profession was conceptualized in the mid 1960s by Dr. Eugene A. Stead Jr. out of Duke University. It was based on a World War II model where they had a huge physician shortage. So what they did is they condensed medical school into 3 years and graduated physicians during this time using that model to backfill that shortfall. Dr. Stead looked at that and said, hey, we could do this. And we could maybe take nurses who have prior medical training and put them through this new academic process and graduate them to work with physicians and help fill the huge shortfall that we have in underserved areas and populations. So he took this idea to the nurses, and unfortunately, they said, we're not interested. So what do? Well, they brainstormed and they looked around and thought, who else has great background in applying or giving medical care that might be a good option for this? And they looked to the military medic and corpsmen. These individuals had significant training, did a lot of things that they couldn't even think about doing once they left the military, and basically came home with no use in the background or skill set that they had already obtained. So Dr. Stead and his team said, let's use those military medics and corpsmen. And they actually started their first program in 1965 at Duke, where they brought 4 of these corpsmen and they trained them and graduated 3 of them in October 6, 1967. Duke was a great idea, a great academic concept, and it had found a good match in the military medic and corpsmen. The program that I went to, the University of Washington, was similar to Duke, but a little bit different. And it actually graduated 14 students, I believe 1970, and all 14 of its students went to work in extremely underserved areas and populations across Washington state. In their concept, they actually brought in these physicians that worked in those areas and had them help in the interview process. And then when the PA student was doing their clerkships or rotations, they did it at those sites and then eventually went to work at those sites when they were done. What a great idea. Both programs, great ideas. Both programs were graduating people that were going to help meet a need. So started with the military corpsman, the military medic. Could have continued that perhaps, but the profession grew way beyond that. It evolved so far beyond that. It's crazy what it's become today and what a need that it truly meets. So it didn't take long until they started looking at other types of medical backgrounds that might become a PA. And you saw nurses, paramedics, you saw respiratory therapists, and so on, all enter PA programs and become great PAs as they graduated and went to work in these underserved populations. Initially, the focus was, of course, in primary care, and the profession was helping to meet that need and working in places where people did not even want to consider working, thus filling a huge void. But as you can imagine, over time, the profession began to diversify and people started moving a little bit away from that primary care role and started working in surgical and non-surgical subspecialties, such as general surgery, cardiothoracic surgery, dermatology, and so on. And this shift reflected a broader trend in the healthcare industry and an increasing demand for specialty care. So the PAs were diversifying out to help in other areas. Currently, we see a distribution of the PA profession where only about 27% of PAs are working in the primary care arena. We see about 19% in the surgical subspecialties and maybe 13% in internal medicine, and then about 11% in internal medicine subspecialties. And there's other areas where the PA works, that are so small, we'll just clump them into one group. But nevertheless, the PA is diversified out quite a bit. If we look at the PA training itself, it has also evolved since the earlier concepts, and now it's actually a graduate degree, whereas in the early days, it was a certificate program. And even myself, I finished PA program as a certified PA, eventually going on to get my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. But when I finished, I was certified. Interesting enough, not much has changed since I finished a certified program and now the required graduate programs of today. So it's a competency, skill-based career field, and it continues to be that, but you do need a good academic foundation to get to that level. So overall, a PA program lasts between 24 and 27 continuous months. Now, the key word in that is continuous. If we think about a 24-month program, you have to realize that's not 2 years. 24 months is 6 semesters. 6 semesters is equivalent to 3 years of academic workload. If it's 27 months, it's more equivalent to 7 semesters, which is almost 4 years. But let's look at this in more detail. Most programs last between 120 and 135 semester hours of graduate work, and that's over 4 years of academic work. So don't get confused and think a PA program is 2 years long. It's not 2 years long. In an academic year or an academic credit workload, it's equivalent to 4 years and sometimes even more. So you might ask, wow, if it's equivalent to that, how come the PAs graduate with a master's degree, which is equivalent to 30 to 45 semester hours of work? Well, that's a good question. I've developed 3 PA programs, and twice I've gone to the regional accreditation body, which is the body that works with the university to help establish the degrees that the university awards. Every time I've gone to them, they've told me my program meets doctorate criteria. But a PA graduate has to graduate from a school that has the medical accreditation in addition to a regional accreditation. And the body that accredits PA programs will not accredit them for over a master's degree. And a program that's not accredited by them means the PA can't get licensed or work, because the only way they can get licensed is if the program is accredited by the medical side also. So sadly, these individuals are graduating with what meets criteria for a doctorate, but they're getting a master's degree. But nevertheless, does that make any difference in how they apply medical care? No, it doesn't. Remember, I graduated with a certificate and I practice medicine at a high level without any problems. And it's a competency career field. So it doesn't make a difference if they have a master's degree or a doctorate degree, but they should be awarded the degree that they actually earn, in my opinion. So nevertheless, they're getting a master's degree and that's how they're graduating. I do want to point out that it wouldn't take much to change it to a doctorate. They don't have to add any coursework. They don't have to add any cost. And all they have to do is go to the regional accreditation body and show how the program meets the doctorate criteria. And then the medical accreditation body just needs to change their standards. Nothing as far as cost or time would have to change in any program to meet regional accreditation criteria. As far as program costs, most PA programs run between $50,000 and $150,000 to $200,000 a year. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Fortunately, most PAs make about $140,000 a year and some more when they graduate. So there is some balance in this, but it is a lot of money. As far as the PA profession goes, it has grown from a primary care shortfall solution to an integral part of all aspects of medical care. It's expanded in diversity, in specialties, and geographic reach while maintaining its core mission of collaboration and patient care. Today, PAs are an integral part that help address healthcare needs across the United States. And I firmly believe if you know a PA, you should take the time this week to let them know how much you appreciate their service through medicine. If you want to know more about the profession, I'm providing a link here that'll take you to the PA History Society, where they've got all kinds of stuff you can read and learn about how the profession began and what it is today. You all take care.